Hi, everybody. Oh, my goodness gracious. So, I had an aha moment today. I'm going to not get hit by this car. Okay. So, I had an aha moment, and I'm going to share it. So, this relates to me being newly divorced. And I have to say that one of the interesting things about getting a divorce is having, I've got gravel in my tire, having all these experiences where I'm like, oh, that's what people are talking about when they mention this or that with divorce. And then something else would happen. I'd go, right, I've heard of that. Yeah, that's a thing, isn't it? So, for all of the surprises, and it's been one long list of surprises. Long list. I chose to stay in a marriage relationship for a very long time that I don't think either one of us would have stayed in, or I definitely would. I'll speak for myself. I would not have stayed if I hadn't gotten pregnant. So, classic, I stayed for the kids. And every time someone says that, there could be 5,000 different reasons for why they believe it's best for the kids. Whole bunch of different types of reasons. I know my reasons, and the divorce really demonstrated to me that while staying married and honestly trying my absolute best to make it work, staying longer than I actually needed to because I just felt this sense of responsibility to be the best person I can be. Not loyalty, because I have a problem with how loyalty plays out, but something sort of similar to that, and a responsibility to never in my life do I want to take the easy road. And if the easy road is easy because it's the right thing to do, well then no problem, I'm there. But a lot of times the easy road is easy for you and sort of selfish, right? So I mostly was concerned about the effect on my boys if their father and I separated / divorced while they were dependent children. What would that look like? And as I went through this divorce process, I feel like the way in which my ex-husband engaged or did not engage, the way he responded, the way he handled the divorce, probably is true to form. It's how he would have handled a divorce under any situation, with or without dependent children. So I actually don't know how I would have succeeded at parenting my boys or giving them the best childhood possible. I think what would have happened if I had been dealing with a divorce while they were dependent children, I think that would have been worse than staying in a not great relationship while they were dependent children. So, when you go through a divorce, you learn things. And I had an aha moment today because I have a habit. We have to pay attention to our habits, right? I have a habit when it comes to my life of putting my life on the back burner and focusing on everything that I think I should do and everything that matters to other people. In particular, my boys, number one. But even in other relationships, I'm the type of friend where if I can experience something that I don't enjoy and that I find unpleasant and uncomfortable, and in doing so, the other person's life is better, I'll make that choice, because to me, it feels like what friends do. And sometimes it is what friends do. But sometimes if you do it too much, it ends up being what happens often, because the relationship becomes imbalanced and you end up in relationship with people who you shouldn't be in relationship with. Okay. So now just kick back to my relationship with me, because that's really where I'm going with this. We all have a relationship with ourselves, and down below I am including something that I saw this morning on someone else's Substack. I'm so impressed with it. I will include the link to their Substack as well. But I'm going to cut and paste the content into the body of this Substack, because this woman who's no longer with us really hits the nail on the head. And there's so much glistening, glaring truth and vibrant freedom in what she says. And I want to share it with you guys, because we are all in relationship with ourselves, right? And I think oftentimes many people forget this. A father might forget to care about himself because he decides, I have to have my job, I have to have my income, take care of my wife, my kids, mow the lawn, and he becomes a provider only and loses his relationship with himself. And mothers, of course, get so busy, especially in our culture, running around taking care of everyone else, we forget to have a relationship with ourselves. We lose ourselves. So I'm still caught in this. The few times in my life where I have a chance to remember who I am is when I travel. And so and every time I travel, I am really happy and really healthy. Not because I'm running around eating at fancy restaurants, going to a spa, and, luxuriating and pampering myself. No, it's because I get to hang out with me. I typically travel alone. When my uncle had a stroke and my aunt and my uncle needed someone to watch the farm in the middle of the desert for 2 winters in a row, I went down and I was on this beautiful property where the nearest neighbor is like half a mile away, surrounded by thousands and thousands of square miles of desert, 2 dogs, myself, no internet, and the cell service was really spotty except for one little spot in the house, like actually on the porch and outside. And I was so very happy. So then I come home to my land of habits. And what I realize now is that when people get a divorce, usually everything is sold, the assets are liquidated, divided, and everyone goes off on a fresh start. What's interesting is that because my children love their childhood home, and because I would like the opportunity to preserve that for them, and because I don't currently have any income, so keeping the home allows me to monetize the house by renting out some rooms, and it gives me a place to live, and I can eat food out of the garden and whatnot. So it's expensive to take care of the house, but it was what I asked for. It was what I ended up getting in the divorce. all of the cash went, all of our cash savings, all of those are our only assets. They all went with my husband. I kept the house, and I have a very, 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 very small spousal support, which I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that I'll get, but that's to be seen. So I'm looking at this property, and I'm realizing it's a place on planet Earth where for 20 years I came last. And our society also, culturally, we believe in taking care of our property. And so this is the thing about having 5 acres in a house, is I am surrounded by endless opportunities to, hold on, no cars coming. The sun's in my eyes. I have to make sure there's no cars coming. Yep, we're clear. So I have this habit where I've always put myself off. I've always put everything that I wanted to do pretty much on the back burner and prioritized the house, the animals, and the family. And now, I'm going to die in 25 or 30 years probably. And my sons are adults, and my ex-husband took all the cash. He has a good income. He's off living his life. I really don't have any obligations, but I have a habit of obligation. And so one thing I said was, I'll give myself a deadline, get the house all beautiful and clean, and then I'll rent out the rooms, and then I'll sit down and start working on this novel that I just researched in Korea. That was brilliant. And I have all these notes and all this information and all this work to do. I'm like, okay, I'll just take 2 weeks. I'll get all this stuff done. And then in the back of my mind, though, in the side of my mind, in the front of my mind, above my mind, all around my mind is this voice saying, there's always going to be stuff that needs doing. And you have to break this habit. So you have to break the habit of saying, I'll get these things done and then I'll get to this. I have to become a writer first and a gardener second. Honestly, a mom second. I'm not anyone's daughter because both my parents have passed away. A homeowner second. I need to become a writer first and everything else second. And actually, before I'm a writer, I need to be someone who's healthy and at peace with myself and taking time to enjoy being alive. So I was going to clean the house, so I've been exhausting myself. In fact, today I even canceled plans to go to Tacoma. I was exhausted. Yesterday, my energy was draining. I'm not eating quite right because it's not that I'm impatient. I don't actually feel impatient. That's an emotion. What I feel is this sense of, I can power through. I can get all this stuff done. I can feel that the accomplishment is right there in front of me. And so I'm balls to the wall, okay? Or, there's just this feeling you get where you're going to just push through, right? This is how women end up with adrenal fatigue. We try to do 3 people's worth of work in one day. So I had told myself, okay, July 15th, I'll get as much done as I can, starting July 15th, then blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, today, just a little bit ago, this little voice said, no, you need to be a writer first for the rest of your life. Every day, create first, and all this other stuff. It will get done, but it's going to get done in the amount of time that's left over after you've done your writing for the day. And I was like, there you go. It's what? 4, 5, 6. So it's July 6th. And I'm like, okay. And actually, it suddenly feels great. it's very clear, very, very clear. I will get up. I will have a routine like I did in the desert, like I did when I was traveling, when I was happy, when I was healthy. I had a routine. I got up. I ate a bell pepper when I was in the desert. I went for a 2 or 3 or 4 mile walk. I came back rejuvenated, and then I wrote for hours. And I got so much done. So, yes, starting tomorrow, it's writing first. Just sit down, grab the computer, sit down, and start working on my project. And then once I'm going to have a minimum, probably like a minimum of 2 hours a day. And I think split up because I don't want my body to get hurt. So it might be like an hour in the morning and an hour later, but I don't know. I haven't figured out the details. All I know is when you get a divorce, whether you stay in the house that you were married in or not, realize that the number one job that you have to do is to identify the habits that are old and the new habits that you want to have instead, and actually start like recreating yourself along the lines of habits. Because if you're getting a divorce, it's because your life wasn't working, and all of your habits that were a part of that life, chances are good a lot of them need to be shifted. So do the work, figure out what to shift it. What's the worst that can happen? I mean, in some cases, the worst that'll happen, I guess, is you'll die or starve to death. I'm grateful I'm not going to die or starve to death. I need more shade, huh, Dobby? We need shade for you. All right, everyone, I'm going to go. I got to figure out how to park. I'm teaching a dance lesson for some friends who are getting married this coming weekend. Okie doke. Talk to you later. Bye.